you should know you look good.
Yeah.
You don't need to be able to see yourself to
If other people aren't telling you that you look good, that means you don't. Yeah. So you have to change your look until people are complimenting how you look, and then you know you've hit it.
And that's why, when Joel got in the car today when I drove him here, I didn't make any comments. I was trying to communicate with him.
My brain is moving so slow right now. I don't know if you were saying positive things or negative things about me.
Well, I'm not gonna nail one way or the other on that one.
That's for you to decide out there.
That's for the viewers.
Hi.
Hello.
We don't have a mirror.
Yeah, we do not have a mirror.
Yeah, so it would have been nice because that way we would have an audience that was just us. So that way we could look at, hey.
You mean just every podcast? Yeah. Just this podcast. It's us and Joe Papalardo.
Yeah. It's our audience. Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Hey. Guys, we got Joel Calvert on the pod today.
It's true.
Music producer, graphic designer.
Oh, my.
All around great boy. Welcome to the pod. How you doing?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing well.
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, no problem. We thought Joel Calvert, this is a perfect follow-up to our Lost Mary episode, because, if they are the brawn, then Joel Calvert is the brains of the of the organization that is Hot Salad Records, right?
Yeah.
That brings their music forward.
Yes.
And I guess this has nothing to do with, your whale or anything like that, but I do wonder, how do you go about, finding somebody who obviously has the talent but doesn't want to put it down on a record, right? They're like they're kind of evasive when it comes to that, and they sort of need to be told that it's good enough to be on a record, right? Or it's good enough music there. So how do you sort of approach that situation?
Well, obviously I haven't been in that situation very often.
Yeah.
It's mostly just
I know. I'm just wondering, just from a, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Just from your own, experience and particularly them.
Yeah, certainly I have a philosophy on that, and to the point of that being my whale. It's not my exact whale, but we are going to talk a lot about music and music promotion and all of that stuff today. So, but with them, I just knew that I liked their music. And obviously at that time they were very shy about their stuff.
I think they still kind of are.
Yeah, they're still kind of shy, still very shy, but they're coming out of their shell.
Their cage.
They're coming out of their cage, doing just fine. Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Because they see that people are enjoying their stuff. And I think that gives them a lot more confidence in what they're doing. And so there's been a lot more, energy on their end in the recent month or so, or recent period where they want to take more charge of their stuff and they're more excited about making music and about people hearing it. Because for that first album, they certainly weren't.
Yeah.
They were not excited.
And yet they put together so much music.
Yeah, definitely. It was a wild summer.
Yeah.
They recorded a lot of it. I think they're more comfortable in the studio than they are in front of people, and that's just who they are. So we spent a lot of time in my tiny little room in the boondocks recording that album.
With not an AC to be found.
Yeah, with no AC. It was very hot in there. But it was a good time, and they're comfortable in the studio environment. Yeah. But when it came to releasing that album and actually getting people to listen to it, they were very scared.
I think
about that.
a good indication of that is just the music video evolution, where the first one is like, okay, so let's just look. All you got to do is show up to Bobby's, walk around and smoke, and we'll just release it as a music video. And that's a great music video. You did a good job with it. But it's very much like,
oh my gosh,
we can't get Luke and DJ to do anything, so we're just gonna, what's something low effort? Well, can we just be cool? And it's like, sure. You can at least try to be cool.
Yeah, being cool is just chain smoking around a small Midwestern town. Yeah,
for a lot of people,
I think actually
that is pinnacle cool.
I think the ethos of Lost Mary as a band is it's cool as smoke to chain smoke in a Midwestern town. I think Elegy for a Backwood is about that.
Hymns from a Backwood.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Why did I say Elegy from a Backwood?
I like that.
Yeah.
You're thinking of J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
You got that J.D. Vance brain.
You got the Vance brain.
I mean, hey, I actually
Insane
talked
in the
about
Vance brain.
my boss about this recently.
What?
Because he asked me, because I was talking about how we have a lot of family in Appalachia.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, have you read Hillbilly Elegy. I was like, I have, and that's our family, right? Like, a lot of our family was movement from Appalachia. So I got
to the Midwest.
And felt a tangible impact when reading that book. I don't know how much I like J.D. Vance as an individual. Kind of a coin toss on any given thing, but
if the historical research is accurate in that book, it does stay with you. At least it stayed with me.
Mm-hmm. Do you have similar family heritage, or
no? Not similar family heritage, but given if his research on that and his narrative portrayal of it in the book is correct, then it helped me understand this portion of the Midwest a little bit better.
The region that you reside.
Yeah, just being in a post-industrial small town.
Yep.
Yeah.
Post-industrial small town where white guys dress like black people from 2006. It's truly like the Twilight Zone. Imagine a world where guys named Derek.
Don't get it wrong. We love our small town.
I
don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted. No, I love it here. It's just that's as somebody who went to college here, that's a demographic of dude I didn't know existed until I was a resident of Hillsdale.
Yeah, okay.
That's true. Yeah, I mean this boy right here, in it for his whole life.
That's
right?
true.
Yeah.
Oh, except for 3 years. We don't talk about this part.
Those is what we refer to as the dark times.
The dark times.
The dark times.
We don't tell people I was born in Ohio.
Yeah. You could get lynched in this part of the U.S.
Being born in Ohio means that you're still like pretty, distinctly Midwestern.
Yeah, but Ohioans hated by, I think it's like one of the most hated states just in general.
I think it's predominantly.
Josh, look this up. He's not in the room.
No, so that's true.
But like regionally, like Michigan folks, they hate Ohio.
I think it goes California is number one. I think then it goes New Jersey, but I think that's for like memes more than anything else. I think unless you live in the tri-state area, there's no reason why you would hate New Jersey. And then I think Ohio after that, but
number 4, Long Island. It's not a state, but that region.
Jeez. I have a good friend, Chris McCaffrey. He grew up on Long Island. I think I would have to agree about that. Anyway,
I think it's just anybody who's ever had to drive through Ohio on a freeway.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Which I think for the same reason you can hate Indiana.
Yeah.
Because the turnpike in Indiana is just as bad.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little more greenery, and there's that one beautiful bridge. You guys ever know about the bridge?
Like going up into the mountains?
Yeah, no. So if you drive,
oh wait, no. That's Ohio.
Driving,
same place, same situation.
Yeah. So driving from Michigan to Washington D.C., which is a thing that I've done on multiple occasions. I'm sure you've done on multiple occasions as a former resident of Washington, as well as I. I think it's at the end of the Indiana Turnpike. It's like right before you get to Pennsylvania. There's just this gorgeous bridge across the turnpike. Like you're going through some hills.
Oh wait a minute! I think we are talking about the same place, but you're also thinking of Ohio.
Is it Ohio?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Ohio's next to Pennsylvania.
Oh, you're right.
Indiana is next to Illinois.
You're right.
But we are thinking about the same bridge. You're going up into the mountains and like going through that little pass, and there's that big bridge there. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, my bad. I'm gonna have to eat my words on that. I'm sorry.
Want some salt for those words?
Former VP Mike Pence of Indiana doing this to you. So I'm sorry.
Falsely attributing a bridge.
Pete Buttigieg, now Michigan resident. Traverse City resident.
Oh yeah, that's right. Did he choose Traverse City?
I think so. I think it's Traverse City.
That does make sense though.
Yes,
because it's the most. It's not Yooper, but it's the most in between, where it's got that that energy of the north of the state when it comes to beauty, but it's also it can be viewed as industrial southern Michigan enough.
It's a great place to run for president from, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'd love to run for president from Traverse City.
It's beautiful.
I'd like I that bridge for some reason, and it's like something that I've talked to multiple people who make that trip pretty consistently about. Is like there's just this really one beautiful bridge, and you're just driving, and it's monotony. And there's like bad bridge after bad bridge after bad bridge, and then there's good bridge. You're like, good bridge? Oh. Wow, I'm going to have to turn down the road by Cormac McCarthy real quick and look at the good bridge.
Real quick question. Do you think that Michigan gets away with a lot because it has the UP? And by that, I mean, like, we refer to, Indiana and Ohio as these wastelands.
I'm changing my whale. We're going to talk about Michigan and like the upper parts of Michigan now.
Yeah. I mean, because in my mind, right, like when you talk to somebody who's like, "Oh, Michigan, great place. You got great hunting there. You got beautiful trees. Great rivers, lakes." There's that stuff around southern Michigan, I mean, we got tons of lakes here. We do have hunting and such. But the natural beauty is what I would say is sort of just relatively equivalent to something like Indiana and the places that have natural beauty.
Well, that just changes the further north you go. You don't even have to go all the way to the UP for that to be the case, if I'm not mistaken. Right.
Well, I think you're right, but
you can have a good Michigan fall.
Most places. Anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere, but like north of Detroit especially.
Yeah, anywhere kind of past the Lansing. I don't know if anybody knows where Alma is, but past the Alma area, then the geology and the flora.
I was in Alma today.
Change a good bit. Really?
I was, yes.
What?
I went.
That's where he picked up his cat.
I had to go pick my cat up.
That's where your cat was?
Yeah.
All the way up in Alma?
I think so.
You got to tell him why, though. It's a weird scenario.
Okay, so there's this thing where if you want to get your cat neutered, it costs like, if it's a female, it costs like $250, $300. So there's this voucher program you can sign up for where they pay for the most of your bill because they want less cats around. And so it's like, they make it $45, which, great deal.
Okay.
And so you have to go to one of the places that accepts that. And the closest one was in Alma, so.
It couldn't have been Alma. But anyway, that's not the point.
Okay. Because wait, how far away is Alma?
It's north of Lansing.
Oh, so north of Lansing, yeah. Well, so that would be like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
it's like an hour 15, hour 30 to get to Lansing.
Yeah,
I know. I did the drive twice a week for a year and a half. So yeah, I guess it wasn't Alma. It was something similar to Alma.
Dude, you were geographically
just the ball
all over the place, dude. Yeah.
Got Shadrach Strehle.
For all I know,
good.
Pete Buttigieg, he's in Detroit.
Yeah.
He may be in Chicago. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't trust
I'm pretty
you.
sure it's Traverse City.
Yeah.
I was just up in northern Michigan this weekend. And
cool.
I'm going back again this weekend just because of different family stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just such an interesting area of, I don't know, Michigan in particular, but maybe also the United States. I'm not sure because it's so touristy, but also barren and poor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not using that in a derogatory sense. That's just sort of economically, there are a lot of poor counties up there.
They have a hard time.
And so there's sort of this dichotomy there, which is really weird to see.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the tourism even is just for other parts of Michigan to go to, right? Which I always think is kind of funny where places are like, this is a tourist spot, but just for people who live in less touristy spots.
Yeah.
And it's like Frankenmuth's whole thing. Or like Leavenworth in Washington State, where we're from, it's basically just Frankenmuth, except for it's in the mountains. And for Leavenworth, it was like, nobody ever went there from anywhere other than Washington State. But when you went, it was, man, we're going from our more depressed area to a less depressed and more German area.
And that's about as far as it goes.
We didn't have Bronners.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I think
we had more mini golf.
It's true. Well, I mean, how can you accurately state how much mini golf there is in Frankenmuth?
Ooh, I imagine there's quite a bit.
Yeah. So I wouldn't go speak another geographical fallacy over here.
Yeah,
dude.
gosh.
It's all falling apart.
I'm falling right now.
I think it's interesting how, because have you ever been to the Rockwell Lake Lodge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
love it.
Yeah, a beautiful piece of land up in the northern parts of Michigan, not in the UP, but adjacent to. And
it's a little south.
I know. I'm just saying, like it's got a very similar vibe.
It's got a northern vibe,
from what I understand. That being,
once you get north of Grand Rapids, then you're in northern Michigan.
Yeah,
yeah. There you go.
You leave the brewery belt.
Yeah,
and you enter.
That keeps Michigan's pants right up, right there,
yeah,
economically for sure. So you move past there, and like. Beautiful area, beautiful lake, a beautiful lodge, but the only nearby town is as economically depressed as possible, right?
There's like one sports bar,
yeah,
right,
and it's rough, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that that's not a vibe, because that's a vibe, but
man, I love describing economic depression as a vibe. Yeah, we're three white guys saying economic depression's a vibe.
It's my privilege.
Yeah.
We should go to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
that's where we belong.
They've just got like a general store in Ludington.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's that contrast, right, between high living and the economically depressed areas, right? That tourism doesn't necessarily bleed into the rest of the region. I feel.
Yeah, it's an interesting case study, which we don't have to talk about because it has to do with economics and politics.
Yeah.
When we can talk about music instead.
Which have nothing to do with economics or politics.
No.
Yeah, dude, the second Rage Against the Machine got political, dude. I couldn't stand him anymore, dude.
Oh, man.
Did you guys see that tweet actually, where there was like some guy took a photo of a Rage Against the Machine concert, and they had like a thing where it was a screen that was showing like X amount of trans people commit suicide a week or whatever, and somebody was like, "What the hell, Rage? Like, what are you up to?" I was like, "What? what the hell is Rage up to? What they've been up to since 1992?"
Crazy.
But
that being said,
yeah,
right, the whale this week for Joel Calvert. Right. Put this on the episode description. Right. Get this ready. Dylan, get your keypad ready. Get ready to write this down. Joel, what is your monomaniacal obsession for us to discuss?
The barren hellscape that is music promotion in the second decade of the 21st century.
Wow. That sounds like a beautiful dissertation. Love to read it. So why is this on your mind? Obviously, it's on your mind because you're in that space, right? You're working in it. You're trying to make some stuff happen. You know, you're making moves. You're wearing a shirt.
Yeah.
So,
Lost Mary shirt's available online.
$45, I think.
Yeah.
It's a good price.
It's a screaming deal.
It's very competitive with other record labels.
Yes.
And it's incredibly soft.
It is actually.
Is it only because he's wearing it? Because, I mean, anything that you put him in is just going to be 10 times softer, dude.
Just because of my abrasive skin.
Yeah.
It's like sandpaper.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's very comfy.
Yeah.
And this is actually the first time I've worn this.
Really?
See, originally I wasn't going to wear a shirt that had anything to do with the label or an artist. And then I realized, or I thought that it would be too conspicuous.
There you go.
You want to be up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be conspicuous, so I thought, I'll not wear anything that's associated with what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then I thought, no, they'll point it out.
They'll say, hey, wait a second.
The music literati. The gatekeepers.
He's trying to be legit, but we all know that he's a poser right now. So,
oh yeah, it's all about being a poser. Not really, but yeah. So I've spent a lot of time with music lately, and particularly the promotional aspect of it, with the Lost Mary Boys releasing their new EP, and so it's been on my mind, and so I figured we could talk about it.
So let's open with you are, I guess, the lead behind Hot Salad Records, right?
Yeah.
Your own independent record label. What sort of was the inception of that? What made you think, like, not only is that something I want to take a shot at, but I've got people that can provide the music that would improve that label? What was sort of the genesis of it?
It just sort of arose out of necessity because I had done stuff with Q Curious, Forrester McClatchy, and then started doing stuff with Luke and DJ, and wanted just sort of an umbrella to put both of those projects underneath. So just sort of came up with the name Hot Salad based on a joke that Forrester and I had made.
And that Bim Bam later made.
Oh yeah, they talked about hot salad too. There was what did they say?
I don't know. I think they were talking about like hot fruit salad.
Yeah, specifically talking about how gross it is. I assume.
Yeah,
because that's the same way that our joke arose. I'm just thinking about the weirdest sort of floppy, wet greens.
Yeah. Like
not
when you don't turn the temperature high enough when you're cooking spinach and it's just soggy.
We were thinking about, or at least I was thinking about, you put a bowl of salad in the microwave, and what do you get out of that? Yeah, not an appealing image at all.
Yeah.
But Forrester made this like beautiful love song, and we were coming up with a name for it, and one of us suggested, why not hot salad? Because it's gross and totally at odds with the subject material of the song. Anyway, we took that and ran with it, and then the Abrasive Materials was published under Hot Salad, and then we made the label later.
Okay, so it was published under Hot Salad just as sort of like a placeholder label? Okay, and then you fully... and made it something legit.
We came up with a logo and then got ourselves recognized as a corporation by the state of Michigan.
There you go. So fully legit. Cool.
Yeah, we pay taxes.
Woo-hoo.
Woo!
You and me both, brother.
Actually, we don't pay taxes because we haven't made any money yet.
There you go.
But we are in the system, and we will pay taxes when we make a profit.
I promise.
Help us make a profit.
Dana Nessel, are you listening? Please do not sue me.
Oh goodness. So cool. So you're on this path, right? You're bringing on bands. You've got, I would say, was it total of 4 music acts currently published under the label?
Yeah.
Currently 4. And you're making a go of it. So why is this sort of occupying your thought space right now, right? Why has this sort of been
Promotion specifically,
yes,
I think is what you're
trying to get this out there, having people look at it. Like, what's the driving force?
For hymns from a backwood.
Yep.
Yes.
Hymns from a backwood. We want more people to listen to it,
right?
And that's a challenge.
Yeah,
it's a big challenge because of many different reasons, which we can talk about. Because I'm sure you guys are going through the same thing. Well, with working in the I don't know audio/video medium, it's hard to get an audience, and it's hard to get your product in front of an audience in the first place, and then get fans from that audience. It's a nightmare.
Yeah,
because the space is so overpopulated.
Yes,
the democratization of music has been great, but it's created a lot of noise, and you got to try to fight through that noise. And how do you do that?
Yeah, because it's I think we've had this conversation before, but like back in the day when radio was a much more prevalent medium, and the major record labels had a lot more power as far as what you could listen to, and kind of having relationships with radio stations, having those kind of things that prevented other people from getting into the space. At that time, understandably, people were very frustrated. Had a really hard time breaking through, and then, of course there was really strong zine culture, underground indie music cultures, etc. Especially based on localities.
Yeah.
But in a certain way, we now have the same thing, but with just different gatekeepers. It's not the major record labels, it's not the radio stations, but you could say equivalently would be the social medias, like the social medias. I sound like a doomer. The social media companies, right, which are the primary way that you would ever reach an audience, right?
Yeah.
And the social media companies, as well as the streaming services, more specifically, the streaming service.
Yeah, everything has changed, but nothing has changed.
Yes.
Streaming is the new radio.
Yeah.
Social media is the new, news media.
But there is an additional barrier, which is the one that you brought up, which is democratization, right? That anybody can enter it. There is no additional barrier, so the entry level is entirely filled, right, with tons and tons of content.
Yeah.
Great example of this from my line of work from the video games. Now, every year, over 2,000 games are published on Steam.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is much higher than it used to be back when they had standards.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, agreed. Yeah. Anybody can get on Steam and make an account and create a shovelware hypothetically and put it on Steam. Right.
They can just plug some things into Unreal Engine and then call it a game.
It's called an asset flip.
Yeah, people do it all the time. Yeah. So it's they put in 5 hours of work, and they hope to get maybe 200 sales in a year, and they're still going to make their money back. And if you put out enough of them, you're going to make a consistent amount of money, right? And the hope is to not have people return them. And that's just the whole gambit, right?
Yeah, you hope that they launch it. You'd be like, oh crap, I have a thing I have to do. Come back an hour and a half later.
Oh no!
Play 30 minutes of it, and you're like, oh, this is bad. I want to return it. It's been 2 hours. I can't return it anymore.
Man. Dang it!
Yeah.
So
that sucks.
Yeah. So that happens all the time. But that being said, what ends up happening is that even the games that are, say, top 50%, have an enormous amount of competition, because every day they're launching beside 5 titles, right, or more, right, and so constantly being bombarded with these games. And what's the primary way you advertise it? As you said, you do social media, right, along with everybody else who's also doing it, right. So that doesn't make you additionally unique, and that is the closest way, and you just hope you hit it, right. You do everything you can to try to milk virality out of something, right. That's the goal. And then you run into for us, the gatekeepers are the influencers, right? And trying to find the right ones, and those that deign to play your game could sell you Like your livelihood could be made off of one guy finding an interest in your game and playing it.
Yeah,
right.
Like reviewers with a big platform, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
it's very similar.
Mm-hmm. So I'm getting what you're throwing down. It's a tough one.
Yeah, that's true. Most people who release music onto Spotify never get listened to. Just the majority of artists on there is just dead completely.
Yeah.
They release music into a vacuum and it never gets heard. And that's really a tragedy because I'm sure there's some really good stuff in there.
Yeah.
It's just kind of sorting through a haystack for that needle. But
and even when you find something that you like, because I pretty religiously listen to my Discover Weekly playlist, it's one thing to hear a song and be like, oh, this is a good song.
Yeah.
I might be interested in listening to this more.
Mm-hmm.
And being like, this is someone who I'm going to actually take the time to listen to their whole record, and I'm actually going to interface with their content, and I'm actually going to purchase their merchandise. Right? It's a totally different ball game. I mean,
gosh, that's another thing. I guess that's something that hasn't really changed since radio. You hear someone's song, and I don't know, do you go to the store and buy their CD or something, or their record, and listen to the whole thing? Do you like the song that much? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But
it's interesting though. But the barrier in that instance to listening to the rest of their music is the purchase of a CD. Whereas nowadays it's just 2 clicks, listening through it, and then moving on. Right? Like there's no additional level of dedication required.
Yeah.
Right. And so I imagine you end up selling less CDs because obviously, but
CDs haven't been profitable since, I don't know, like 2006. It's been a long time.
That's another thing that is kind of a part of my whale.
Yeah.
Is that I think CDs and cassettes are coming back.
Yeah.
And I've got a theory on that.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about that right now.
Well, what's the theory?
The theory is that vinyl is prohibitively expensive.
Yes.
And takes up to the wait times are at least 7 months.
Yeah.
For people who don't have connections, at least when I've looked into it,
printing
it's been
vinyl.
7 months.
Yeah.
And what's left to make money off of in terms of physical music media?
Or even as a consumer, what's left to get as physical media?
Yeah, what is left that is not streaming, and it's CDs and cassettes. Like if you're a small band and you don't have $2,000 to just disappear into 100 or 200 vinyls, which not many people do, then you're going to turn to CDs and cassettes. So this is all big music's fault, right?
Yeah.
So the architecture of the industry right now, and it has been this way for a while, is that you have the big three, which have, I don't know, something like maybe 40% of the market share.
Yeah, and licensing and whatnot.
Yeah, so independent music still has the majority of the market share, but that's divided up between thousands of different labels across the world.
Yeah.
And then you've got Universal, you've got Sony, and you've got Warner Brothers. And they realized in the past, 5 years or so, that vinyl has big margins attached to it.
Yeah.
You can sell it for more than double.
$25, $30. It's insane.
You buy it in bulk, you get it for like $8 a pop, you sell it for $40 a pop.
Yeah.
Wild margins.
Yeah, well, and it's like nowadays it's not, because everybody's a collector now. So it's like, it's not fine for you just to release a single LP that's black and uses your record labels. Like I have a ton of records in my house right now that are like, they were made by Warner Brothers in the 70s, and they all have the exact same art on the actual record.
Oh, really?
Like the sleeves are different, of course, but there's just a picture of a painted matte painting of the Warner Brothers lot. Like with the water tower and everything. It's like Warner Brothers. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, thank you. This is a Doobie Brothers record, but it's just, you got the Warner Brothers thing on it. And so, like that's back when everybody just had vinyl, and that was just sort of the way that you interface with music. But now it's, people aren't really interested in buying a vinyl record unless, of course, it's just as cheap to color vinyl nowadays.
Yeah.
Even though like sometimes they'll upcharge you when you're trying to print it, but it's just like color does not matter price wise when it comes to production. So I mean, for the big companies, it doesn't matter at all. But this is only this is a 10 song record. Well, we got to split it between two LPs. You got two LPs. You've got full art inserts. You've got multiple art pieces, stickers. Everything. It's just like crammed full of stuff because people view it as the collector's edition.
Yep.
And in my mind, that's sort of how I interface with records, though. And maybe I'm part of the problem in this, where it's like, okay, I love a band. I'm enjoying this record a lot. It has entered the I'm willing to pay for a vinyl club. And when it's entered the I'm willing to pay for a vinyl club, I want it to be something nice to commemorate my time with this record. And it's like, this is a part of my collection.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe, like, I would say CDs and tapes are definitely making a comeback, primarily just for the person who wants to have a lot of physical media and listen to it pretty consistently.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, if you want to be any sort of audiophile, CDs aren't the best.
Yeah.
Because on average, it's going to be MP3. That's going to be a compressed audio format.
Yep.
Especially if you rip your own stuff, and why would you ever do that? So like MP3, it's going to be compressed. It's going to be a little iffy on a CD, and then a tape is like a totally different thing. And then if you want it to be at any sort of quality, you got to buy an amplifier. You got to buy multiple stereos. You got to buy like something that's nice. But the thing is, nobody's car has a vinyl player.
Yeah, definitely. And very few cars have CD players or cassette players anymore.
Yeah.
So that's a whole another thing. But that's so vinyl went away, right?
Yeah.
Vinyl went away. Nobody had. Yeah,
it crashed.
It crashed. Nobody had any kind of turntable. They didn't have the setup for it. And I think the same thing could happen with CDs and cassettes. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
The interest might not be there, but it just factually is the only physical media format that small bands are going to be able to afford without doing some fundraising or having some money to start with.
So you're saying that Fortuna's wheel is turning in regards to
I'm saying that the big dogs have ruined the party, and vinyl is too expensive. Adele ordered like 50 billion pressings of her latest record and backed up the industry, and there's wax shortages.
Well, I didn't know that because of Adele.
And other reasons.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There was this one big plant that somehow got shut down for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't done an incredible amount of research on this, but it's just plain by the numbers that the whole industry is backed up.
Yeah.
That there is a shortage of the physical medium that you use to make vinyl records.
Yeah.
And it's just not affordable.
Yeah. Well, so a good example of this is this band is going all over the place, but Turnstile just released a record, Glow On, which is a really great record.
True.
It's like making a lot of splashes. And I was interested in buying a vinyl copy of it because I really liked the record. Their initial release was a few thousand records because of the I assume now probably because of the shortage. It's sold out. You can't get it for anything less than $450 in the aftermarket. So it's it's insane, right? And
Oh my God.
and they have really big representation. I mean, they were on Fallon for Pete's sake, or Kimmel.
Oh my gosh!
But it's you got to wonder first off who's buying all of those records. Is it people with Crosleys? Who shouldn't be playing vinyl records in the first place?
Oh, how gatekeepy of you!
Yeah,
I think that's true though.
Yeah,
because you love the music and you want to collect it, you want to memorialize it in some way because you love it. But who has the money for a real
turntable,
high-end vinyl setup? Not many people.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It could be gatekeeping. It's got more and more affordable. You can get a pretty good Fluence table and but you got to again you have to buy a preamp, amplifier, speaker. It's like, okay, well then that's all going to run you probably $500 in total.
Yeah.
Right. And that's definitely above what you're going to be paying for
a little cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get a pretty good gaming PC for that,
Just play video games and stream music.
Yeah.
While you're playing the video game.
Yeah.
Play Risk of Rain 2 while listening to Hymns from a Backwood. It's the life.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Send us videos.
Yeah.
Goodness. Guys, this is a good enough time as any for us to thank our patrons for listening and helping provide the necessary resources needed to keep this show going, providing things like these beautiful new mics.
Thank you.
the new headset setup we've got going on.
Thank you. That was just for DJ.
Yes.
Even though he's not on the show right now. But.
Yeah. Just so he could hear a little bit better. Yeah. But we didn't have it when we recorded it with him. So
our ears were just blaring the whole time because DJ couldn't hear otherwise.
Well, I didn't even get a headset. That's the other thing we need. We need another headset. So, all right. So we've got a couple of things. First off, we want to thank our top patrons, that being Joe Papalardo and Zach and Amber Strehle, for helping us. You guys are the real MVPs in this whole situation. If you're interested in listening to a Patreon post show in which things are both uncensored, and by the way, the last episode, like 50% of the swears were uncensored.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
In the
Jake Coonrad episode,
in the non-patron episode.
Yeah. It's because I listened to it twice, and I was like, I don't have time to listen to it a fifth time. Sorry.
I didn't know this.
Yeah,
you didn't know this?
Jake, I listened to it trying to find swears. Because Jake is just he has one vocal cadence. So I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not monetized anyway.
Goodness. Anyway, there's also, it's, we take the gloves off, and really we're going to be beating the verbal crap out of him.
I'm going to swear a lot in the Patreon episode.
You're right. So if you want to hear him swear, that's $5 a month. You get that after every single episode. That's almost twice the content. That's crazy, dude. That's insane.
Twice the content, twice the fun.
That's insane. Also, with the $10 tier, you get Ask Me Anything questions, where you guys get to throw in questions.
Oh, man.
And so we got some questions.
Are there some for me?
There are.
Correct.
Whoa.
You should ask the one from Danny. It's a good question.
Yes. Only got ones from Danny today.
Danny who?
Danny Wrongley.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh, I love Danny.
Yes. Yeah. He is a patron.
Hi, Danny.
Hi.
All right. So,
Danny, where are you?
This is a question for Joel and Shad.
What?
Oh.
Not me, Danny.
Aw.
Your bread and butter is a rule?
Aural.
Concentration.
Yes.
Do you get tired of listening?
Tired.
Just in general? Tired of listening to music not related to work? How important is silence and quietude in your personal life?
Wow. That's a good question, Danny.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's speaking for Danny in that moment.
Yeah.
He channeled Danny. That was a seance. You just witnessed.
He's dead, by the way. Didn't want to be the one to tell you. Danny, no! His last wish was for you to answer this question.
Right, in honor of Danny. Do you have an answer?
I don't know. It's a good question. It has a good question. I don't really have a great answer to it. I love the music that the boys make, and the music that we put out. That's sort of a given of the label, but you can't listen to something all the time. It's not that I don't like it anymore.
Yeah,
it's just that it's run its course, and you need to branch out a little bit. Ooh.
Whoa.
Is that coming through?
I don't know if it's coming through.
Is that my phone?
That was probably just a wire. We're fine.
Okay,
we're good.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're back.
Yeah.
Just cut that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to listen to other stuff than what your work entails, and you do also have to have silence because you need those other perspectives, and you need that baseline. Music doesn't mean anything unless you have silence, and songs are not distinct from one another unless if you listen to the same song all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. I go through my binges.
Yeah,
but it runs its course, and you need to go and find the new magic.
Yeah, I listened to the theme song to Cowboy Bebop for 8 hours straight one day, off of a bet, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess you could call that a bet. And sometimes in the middle of the night, I'll wake up and go to use the bathroom, and it'll be in my head. How about you, Shad? The question was also directed at you.
Yeah. So I don't know if very many people know this, but your ears and your eardrums are a muscle like any other part of your body, and so you can get tired. And as somebody who works with a lot of different audio stuff, if we're doing podcast editing and etc., it means that I have to listen and concentrate very hard on some things, certain background noises, try and pick up certain frequencies so that I can try and edit them out. You constrain yourself. I remember back when I was doing a little more quality control when Joel was trying to experiment with some mixing stuff for Hymns from a Backwood.
Yep.
There'd just be days where I said, sorry, Joel, I can't do this. I listened to too much today, right? Where it's hard to be able to differentiate the lows and the highs and, how they all relate to each other because your brain can get fried. The problem is that I don't really have a very great silence discipline. I edit sometimes, 2 or 3 podcasts a day. Sometimes I don't edit 2 or 3 podcasts a day, and it's a fairly quiet thing. But when I'm not editing a podcast, I'm either watching a YouTube video or I'm listening to my own podcasts. I'm constantly inculcated, which means that I have a sort of mental comfort blanket of constant chatter. It's actually very bad for you, and is probably a sin, I would assume.
It's the reason that I have a hard time sleeping. I fully believe, because I give myself very little time to think during the day. And then when I'm trying to sleep, I'm running through 1,000 different things.
That could possibly be it.
Because I the entire day got something going on, right? I got music, I got podcasts,
what I would say is that as far as what silence actually plays in my life is that I try really hard that whenever my wife is around, I am not listening to anything, So if she's ever home or et cetera, and try to give her as much attention as possible in those moments and whatnot. And like it creates like a weird dichotomy in my life where there is listening Shad and there's not listening Shad. But it's honestly like if, the same thing with, say, like your phone, where I'd say that your phone becomes a problem when you're in a group of people and you're having a conversation and all you can think about is that thing, right? Yeah. And has never moved to the point where I'm sitting there having a conversation with somebody and they say like, I'd much rather just be listening to Stoner Dads episode 16 or whatever, whatever I was listening to.
Oh, I love that.
So I don't know. I mean, that's
that show. It's a good show.
I love that show.
It's a good show. Highly recommended.
Yeah.
All right.
Tim Butterly, come on the pod.
On after this, Stoner Dad.
Yeah.
No. It's for my wife. No. He sent us a whole bunch of different questions as well. But we do at least 2 questions on the show, so I'll follow it up with one more, which I think has a lot to do with our discussions about Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Dollar General.
Oh.
Good or bad for society?
Oh, my.
It's tough. It's a tough one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually legit socioeconomic question.
Yeah.
That I don't know if we're equipped to answer. Yeah.
Thanks, Danny.
Yeah.
For putting us in this spot.
I think as far as retail, though, the last time I saw it, it is the most highly represented retail location in America.
Another really fun thing about Dollar General, entirely recession-proof, the only retail that continues to grow regardless of economic factors.
Wow.
Dollar Generals and other dollar stores, right? In fact, it does better during recessions, which is understandable, but it still grows during standard economic times. So,
well, there's your investment then.
Yeah, there you go. Throw your money into the Dollar General. Man. Yeah. I mean, like, how about from like a boots on the ground perspective, right? Like, well, so my wife's family, they live in a small town. The closest place that had any groceries was the small town convenience store.
Yeah.
Right. Which was mostly a place to get beer and other things you would get at a gas station.
The party store.
Yes, the party store. And so that was there. And if you wanted to go somewhere where you could get groceries, you'd have to drive 15 minutes, right? Which is not a ton, in the grand scheme, especially in this area. But, it's an additional barrier, right? But now that small town has a Dollar General, right?
Does Dollar General have groceries? It
honestly
does. Never been in one.
You never been in one?
No.
It's got it. Here's the thing. It's got everything.
Okay.
Yeah. Keep in mind, not everything is $1.
Yes. Obviously. Yeah. It's just.
It's not
in fact, it's more expensive to buy things there than other places. It's more expensive to buy Gatorades there. It's like $2 for a standard Gatorade. You can buy one, like one of those big ones at Walmart for $2.50. Jeez.
I imagine their supply chain's crazy.
Yeah. It's got to be.
They're delivering to all of these different
rural locations.
So it's
nowhere.
It's crazy because it's a small footprint, but it's got a high variety of things. It's got a little bit of everything.
You've got pool noodles.
Really?
Yeah, you got pool noodles, and you've got
You literally got
dinosaur chicken nuggets. It's all you could ever possibly want on a Saturday.
I mean, you got silverware, you got plates, you've got like over-the-counter medicinals in some places.
Well, it's essentially just a small Walmart.
Yeah.
Doesn't Justin McElroy talk in the Totino's episode of Mabim Bam about how he went everywhere searching for Totino's and could only find Totino's in their local Dollar General?
Yeah.
The other brothers were gasping in horror that that's where he went.
It makes sense. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they're
I mean,
an oasis.
what has it done to the small town in which my in-laws reside? Nobody goes to the corner store anymore.
Yeah.
Except for maybe specific party store related supplies, right? Like liquor,
like bongs.
yeah. But like nobody's going to, and there's always cars in the Dollar General.
Yeah.
And there's always that traffic there. So it's.
Do they sell booze in Dollar Generals?
They do sell
beer.
Beer, I believe.
Beer
Don't
and
quote me
wine,
on that.
I assume.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So it definitely economically chokes some people out of the town. But it adds more additional variety, which I guess is what what a Walmart does, even though it economically wrecks a town, is that it's cheaper and wider variety. But
yeah,
at what cost?
Thank you, Danny.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for that.
More like Danny Rightly. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's not even the first time.
Joe Papalardo would say that. Oh. Yeah. Oh goodness. Any
right.
dang way, guys.
Back to the music.
What we're really here to talk about.
So when are you going to get Lost
Danny.
Mary hooked on drugs and then take advantage of them so they produce a lot of music, burn out, and then
yeah. So
make a documentary in 25, 30 years?
Oh man, isn't that the Motown model?
Yeah.
Or something? No.
Mr. Joel Barry Gordy Calvert.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. So let's get into that. There's so many predators in the industry.
Yeah.
And
Of every stripe, actually.
oh yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Bye, Dylan.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Checking some things.
All right.
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah. We're fine.
What are we at?
48.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't even started.
Well, let's get going. We still got time, and we got the Patreon as well. So start rolling.
Talking about Dollar General in Michigan. All right, yeah. So there are so many different predators within the industry, because there are so many new musicians, there is an entire cottage industry set up around preying off of these desperate new musicians, like my people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've run into some of these scams and people, and it's just wild. Like I said, it's an entire industry. There are people looking to get your money and live off of you trying to make a living off of music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like those bots and stuff that'll message like every new band who makes a Facebook account or puts a song up on SoundCloud. They'll say like, "Yo, this is fire,"
Yeah.
and then they'll try to scam you, for.
But then it goes up from there, and there are real people who will do that, and maybe even real people who don't really want to acknowledge that they're a part of a scam.
Yeah.
Who may think that they are doing something good, but this is a very specific instance of something that I've encountered.
Yeah.
But PR industries, multiple PR industries or companies have contacted us. But you do a little bit of research into them, and you see, okay, like these are real people.
Yeah.
And this is a real company owned by real people. But their business model is a little whack.
Yeah.
Where you pay up front for quote unquote press coverage and like TikTok influencer videos, Spotify editorial playlist placement.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Stuff that they know you want.
Yeah.
And you do want.
Yeah.
But are they the ones that are really going to give it to you?
Yeah.
Well,
the
if
thing
you
is-
pay them this nominal fee.
Nominal fee.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that
It's never as effective as promised.
it's never as effective as promised.
No.
And that's just PR in a nutshell. But the thing is that the big players actually have access to PR firms who can do that. They have access to people who know the people who can get, the D'Angelo sisters or whatever they are, the TikTok stars to make a music video. D'Amelio.
The PR agencies that are reaching out to bands that are as small as, say, say like, oh, we want to cover this small town band. You know, they've got X amount of listens and stuff like that. Those are not the ones that are good enough, right, to really bring that person up to a high level, right? Because those people are working with a major label and or right are searching for mid-level to high-level talent, right? Yeah, because that's what what they're worth, quote unquote, to themselves, right? They're looking to get clients regardless of who they are, right? Yeah, which is a predatory act.
If they're coming to you, you might not want to work with them. At least if they're a PR company. Yeah. If it's like individuals or something. There was somebody who reached out to Lost Mary fairly recently, who was like a legit producer. Like we did a bunch of research on him, and he was all legit, and we were like the guy's stuff. So they'll be working with him on a few songs in the future. But that's really the only legit thing, the only legit connection that has come out of this. And then everything else has kind of been me trying to put their music out into the world via whatever I can research on the internet and use without being desperate. Yeah. Because desperation, huge turn off.
Well, you can smell it. You can smell it.
Oh, it's super easy. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's terrifying.
I'm actually curious. Are there any metrics or anything for click through for the Spotify ad?
Oh yeah, tons of metrics. You're talking to an ad boy here. So it's not like huge numbers. It's pretty standard CTR. Yeah, click through rate. So the ad is working, but we're not big yet.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I'm just curious because
we put an ad out. How are we not in festivals now?
Oh gosh. It's going to be really exciting when you get asked to go to a festival. You got to be like, I'm sorry. Both the boys are a little scared.
Oh man, yeah. I'm praying that they're getting more into the mode of performing. Yeah, which I'm very proud of them for. I think Luke has kind of decided in his mind that they're going to be doing some more live performances,
which is great.
Yeah, which is wonderful because he's very talented. Going back to the very beginning of the podcast, these people are legitimately talented. Yeah. And I don't have many talents in my little body, but I do know what good music sounds like. Yeah. And I heard them play a few songs for me and knew that it was good music and that other people should hear it. Yeah. And that's sort of the whole point of Hot Salad Records is that good music should be heard by more people, regardless of whether the artist is small or unknown.
I'm going to ask you a hypothetical then.
Yeah.
So if somebody were to come to you right now, say, and said, hey, listen to this music, I'd love for you to be my record label person. Is that something that you're still open to, or are you focused on what you currently have?
Are we accepting demos? Sorry,
I don't mean to open any floodgates or anything like that.
Oh, actually, I want to tell a story about this in the Patreon. If you guys click through the Patreon, this is good. I listened to so I'm sure Joel ignored it because it was a stupid message on Instagram. But I listened to a demo a guy sent us, and it was hilarious. So,
all right, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
if you send us that message on Instagram, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I doubt he's listening to this.
What were we talking about?
Whether or not you're considering.
Oh demos. Yeah, sure. Like the audience of Monomaniacs podcast, send demos to demos@hotsaladrecords.com.
Yeah.
That email works, and it goes to me, and I listen to it. Demos have just been by invitation only so far, and by that I just mean I reach out to people whose music that I like and ask them if they want to be a part of a label. Yeah, that has not happened very often. I'm very picky.
Yeah,
because the music has to be legitimately good. So that was the case with Lost Mary, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Send us stuff. I'm open to it, but the odds aren't good, and also like we're super small and not influential. So if you want to get in on the ground floor of something which may not go beyond the ground floor, we don't have much influence, and we're very small. But I am also very determined.
Yeah, well, I think that there's a certain thing where, I mean, I remember when you started the label and like people were really interested in it, and I've heard from people who aren't on the label who've asked me like how to get on the label, and part of that is just it's cool to see people passionate about something and actually doing it.
Yeah,
because everybody likes to say that they want to start a label, or everybody says they want to start a band, or everybody says they want to do this thing, but when you see somebody putting the actual work in, it's something that inspires you to want to be a part of it, either for freeloading reasons or for legitimate reasons, but you still want to be a part of it. And
it's like if you hear your friends are putting something together, right, and then you're not included, and you're like, oh, but I thought, it's that same feeling, right? It's like you're seeing somebody like actualize something, and you're like, oh, like I'm sad that I'm not a part of that, just because there's so much energy behind it. There's so much, again, as you said, dedication and drive incorporated. That's the kind of thing that draws people. Yeah, IMO, but
it's attractive. And
we all know a lot about being attractive.
Yes, that's true. But it comes through.
Yeah.
What are we at? We good?
Oh, we got time still.
Don't worry
about it. Don't stress. Hey, you go 30 minutes over, whatever.
But just like people can sense desperation, people can sense sincerity.
Yes.
It's just sort of a human instinct that we have, and you can tell that, or I don't know, see that through an email that somebody has written, or through music that they put out there.
Yeah.
You can sense sincerity. Say that.
Yeah, that's
3 times fast.
That's the funny thing about these people, the PR firms who are asking for, because I used to work in syndicated radio, and I had friends who would pitch the show and would talk to me like, oh, what do you guys look for in a PR email? And frankly, I think a vast majority of people don't look for their the second they see it's a PR email is when they're like, oh, I don't really want to open this / I don't think I care what this says, right? Where there's a big difference that can be made by that personal touch, where if you receive that email and you're like, okay, well, unless I'm desperate, I'm like, okay, let's go to the well of PR emails. We got to fill some slots this week, so let's go to the PR emails. And you open it up, and it's like, oh, this is the least annoying of these emails, so we're gonna go with this one. But it's all form filled.
Yeah.
It's obvious that it was put together by, if not a computer, then 6 guys who are basically a computer.
Well, let me tell you, it's not 6 people. One person is putting that together.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's something that I'm getting ready to do, and I'm trying to figure out a way to skirt that line between being formal and respectful, but also showing that we actually care about this stuff.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, people go to school for years for this, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's something that I have not yet attempted because it's very intimidating. But that's honestly, I think, the way forward. You can do all of the stuff that you can Google to get your music heard. But I think that the kind of ingredient X is making connections.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
100%. And that's in any industry.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
And making those connections from baseline 0 is really hard.
Yeah.
So you've got to be patient. You've got to be courteous. You've got to not be insulted when people say no.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, you just got to see it from their perspective, and you just got to keep at it, I guess.
Yeah.
Trying to make those connections until something happens, and then you build from there.
And that's your sort of philosophy going forward, then.
Yeah. Yeah. It's untested at this point. We'll see if it works. But it does boil down to the belief that people can sense sincerity. And if you want to stand out from all of the noise, then your art has to be sincere. It has to be coming from a real point.
Yeah.
It has to be beautiful in some way.
There has to be a certain level of craftsmanship involved.
Yeah.
Right.
And the promotion for it has to match that level of excellence.
Yes. Because, same thing with promotion as with music. Sometimes the most genuine is the worst you've ever heard.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I've heard many a demo. Someone was really genuine, not very good. So, and then that can come across too with, PR too, where it's like, okay, it's obvious you care a lot about this, but it's maybe you care too much about it. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, so that might be the point at which I fail.
Yeah,
where talent means nothing, and you've just got to have that, or training means nothing, and you just got to have that natural talent. I don't know. It's like Luke Martin. Luke Martin is an amazing songwriter, amazing lyricist, and it just sort of comes forth from him.
Yeah,
in a way that other songwriters chase after for years and years, but never find.
It's a jar of clay situation.
Yeah. What does that mean?
There's that.
The band. I know the band.
So it's based off of a scripture about like as vessels for the Holy Spirit, Christians are a jar of clay, as in they're like the most innocuous, but filled with the greatest treasure. Where Luke is a jar of clay is what I'm saying. Where he's Luke Martin, but he's also the greatest singer-songwriter. He's an amazing songwriter.
I'm sorry, Mom, I haven't read my Bible that well.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. It's been a real big pleasure to have you here. We've wanted you on since the very beginning. I'm glad we could finally make the time.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out.
I feel like we just barely scratched the surface of this topic.
I know, I agree.
And I feel bad for monopolizing the time I monopolized.
Well, I feel like I have so much left to talk about, but I guess we can continue on the Patreon.
Continue on the Patreon.
It's true. It's true. What do you have to plug? We've been plugging Hot Salad Records this whole darn time, but anything specifically in regards to it? Any freaking calls to action?
Yeah, give them actionable items.
I don't know. Go listen to Hymns from a Backwood by Lost Mary. And I don't know, give our site a little scroll, hotsaladrecords.com. There's nothing much else that I can say beyond that. You've already heard my philosophy about things, about some things. I've got a lot more thoughts, but we'll continue that on the Patreon.
All right, sounds good. Really, stream the record and buy a shirt, dude. They're soft as hell,
and look how good it is looking on Joel right now.
It looks great on Joel,
and it could soft. It's embroidered.
It could look great on you, and also
no guarantees.
Yeah, Hot Salad Records is not guaranteed to look good on you.
It's not a part of our return policy.
Yeah.